Conlon, Editorial Director of One-to-One Media, and I'm here at the Forrester Customer Experience Forum in New York City. I just left a great session moderated by Forrester's Harley Manning on the rise of the Chief Customer Officer. So I decided to hit the trade show floor and ask some of the industry insiders their opinion on whether companies today need a Chief Customer Officer to own the enterprise-wide customer experience. Let's see what they have to say.
Hi, I'm Chris Cottle. I'm Vice President of Marketing and Products for Allegiance, and I believe that almost every company should have a Chief Customer Officer for a couple of very important reasons. We're seeing this in the marketplace in all the research that we do. The first reason is that customer officers, especially Chief Customer Officers, tend to get the budget and they have the political power and the influence within the organization and the credibility they need in order to be effective within their organization. When they don't have a title that's high enough up the organization, they won't be effective. And the second most important reason is that internally, as they work with other groups to propagate the information, they tend to have the political power that they need to make sure that it gets propagated internally as well. So those two reasons make for a very good case as to why Chief Customer Officer should be required at most organizations. And I say most because if it's certain situations where it's a B2B organization and it's a smaller organization, they simply might not be large enough to justify that Chief Customer Title Officer. But in most organizations that we're dealing with that are really focused on customer retention and care deeply about that, this is an opportunity for them to really rise above.
I'm Pat Gibbons. I'm Principal and Senior Vice President with Walker. I think having a Chief Customer Officer really sends a message about a company and their commitment to the customer. So, should a company have a Chief Customer Officer? I think so. Now, in many cases, we see the CEO perform that role, and he might have an effective team. Is it mandatory in every case? Maybe not. But having a Chief Customer Officer not only sends that message, but makes it a priority in an organization. So we think those companies that have senior executives, particularly a Chief Customer Officer, lead the way, they're ahead of the rest.
Hi, my name is Jason Middlestead, Chief Marketing Officer with Right Now. Do organizations need a Chief Customer Officer, or at least somebody responsible for it? I would say absolutely yes. It's one of those things that if somebody doesn't explicitly own it, it can fall between the cracks, and there's nothing more important to a business than obviously its customers. And it deserves a senior level, officer level position that is explicitly focused on it, making sure that it does not fall through the cracks and gets the attention that it deserves.
Hi, I'm Tim Souther. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Axiom. So the question is, should organizations have a Chief Customer Officer? Well, that of course is a function of the strategy of the organization. So if you've committed to be customer intimate, then by all means you should have an individual in charge of the customer relationship. If your strategy is dependent on something else, on distribution or on low price, then perhaps there's a less compelling need to have a Chief Customer Officer. On balance, the vast majority of organizations will compete and will be successful based on their degree of customer intimacy. So for most organizations, having a Chief Customer Officer is a very good idea.
Hi, my name is Kirk Moser, Vice President of CRM and E-commerce Product Marketing at Oracle. And yes, I do believe companies need a Chief Customer Officer. And there's three key reasons. One is that today organizations are functional. To make a customer experience consistent across channels requires having aligned key performance indicators and incentives so that different groups have an incentive to work together to make that experience consistent. Second, to get executive support across those different functional areas. Since this is going to connect all touch points of the company to make that experience, sales, marketing, service, partners, and online, you must get those different executives also to be part of the solution and supporting it so that their people will align. And finally, to create shared end-to-end processes. Because now what's going to happen is you're going to have common data about the customer, about the experience, about the transaction. You're going to want to be able to say, hey, I saw you were on the website and now you're in my store. are you still interested in that area? How can you be able to do that without having someone who's thinking across those different things and can bring them together? Only a chief customer officer can do it. It's the most important role for truly developing a superior cross-channel customer experience.
Hello, my name is Jeff Lewandowski. I'm Senior Vice President and Partner with Reese Consulting. And Ginger, you bring up a great question in whether companies need a customer experience officer or a customer officer. And I can tell you from what we've seen, it may not be an absolute necessity as long as there's somebody in the organization that's at an executive level that has a purview across channels of what's going on with the customer. So somebody that can basically take a look at what's going on with marketing. What do the advertising campaigns look like? What's going on in the care centers? How is retail handling different customer issues, orders, complaints, whatever happens within the customer experience lifecycle? As long as there's somebody that has that responsibility as part of their job title, I don't know that you necessarily need the actual job title itself, but it certainly wouldn't help, or wouldn't hurt for them, sorry.
Hi, I'm John Tesar. I'm Vice President of Products at Tandem 7. We're a user-centered design firm, and I'm in charge of rolling out products to automate the user experience design process. For me, a customer experience officer is really critical for companies who want to differentiate themselves to their customer base. What we see often is companies that do not have a customer experience officer waste a lot of time and really have a lot of friction trying to coordinate really addressing those customers with programs and campaigns. They waste a lot of money and they lose a lot of ground to their competitors. Conversely, when a company has really standardized on that title, a customer experience C-level officer, or even more, the chief executive of the company is acting as that officer, their alignment is dramatically better and they have dramatically better return on investment from all their UX investments, and that's in 100% of the cases.